In this part of the tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to shade the sphere in the still life with a high range of value. So just like in part 1 and 2, I'm still using my different grades of pencil and my tortillon. So I'm going to start out in the darkest part of my shadow, which is over here, and I'm going to grab my 6B, and I'm going to be shading this edge of my sphere. Now it's important that I don't shade in straight lines. I want to make sure that I really curve that shadow. And it's, when I do it, it's almost like I'm making it like a crescent moon shape, where like right toward the edges, it's going to get a little bit skinnier. So like, you know, when there's a crescent moon and there's just like a little sliver, kind of like that. Okay, now I'm going to take my tortillon and I'm just going to smooth that all together, and then I'm just going to blend this edge a little bit here so it's nice and soft. Now I want to look at the opposite edge. So I have my light source kind of hitting here, so this side's going to be a little darker. Now this area is not as dark as there, so I'm going to drop it down to a 4B. And the core, the kind of darkest part of that shadow, or the core of the shadow, is right about here. It's not directly on the edge. And again, I'm curving the strokes of my pencil. While I do this, making that really dark in there, and then kind of softening the edges in here. Now I'm going to get a lower pencil, so I think I'm going to get like an HB, which is kind of like my in-between value, my middle range value for here. And again, I'm just curving my strokes every time. When I do this, it's almost like you're wrapping a string around the ball. Okay, now I'm going to get my tortillon, and I'm going to blend from the middle here and kind of soften these edges here. Okay, it's really important that I keep this very, very round, because if I don't and my strokes are straight, it's going to flatten out the ball. And we want it to look really, really round and really spherical. Alright, so we have that in there. Press a little bit harder just to soften that a little bit more. Okay, now for my cast shadow on my box or my cube, that's a very, very dark cast shadow. So I am going to actually go right along the edge here, make kind of a really sharp dark outline right along the edge. And then here I'm going to go across, and then the shadow actually kind of curves like that. Now the core of my shadow is right next to the ball. It's really, really dark. So I'm going to color or shade as dark as I can in here. And as I get toward the edge, so I'm using a 6B right now, as I get toward the edge of the shadow, I'm just going to gradually lay the pressure off a little bit, but not significantly, because it really is a very, very dark, dark shadow. And we want to have that high range of value and that contrast between the edge of the ball, the edge of the sphere, and the shadow. Now I can just take my tortillon, Do a little bit of blending just in the shadow. Do not blend it into the sphere. And then just soften the edges. Okay, and there you have it. Part 3, where we're doing our sphere.